Hi everyone, and welcome back to Rolling Mikan. I'm your host, Ellice Ng, and today we are diving deep into tech recruitment trends for 2024. And who better to guide us through the current landscape than the founder and the CEO of Hirely Group, Derek Toh. Hey Derek, welcome to Rolling Mikan.
Hey, hi. Thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you for taking time to come over. I think I stalk a lot of your posting.
All right.
I love it. And maybe you want to do a little bit of introduction of yourself.
Oh, right. So I'm Derek. I founded a company called Hirely, and we are basically a recruitment platform. And we started off as very much focused on helping companies use their culture to attract talent. That's why we started. But over time, we've sort of evolved quite a little bit. And right now, we consider ourselves like a tech-enabled company. We focus a lot on the youth talent, and we take a very interesting hybrid approach to recruitment. So when I say hybrid, a lot of people wonder what I mean by hybrid, right? So we have a job portal, but then the job portal is actually directly integrated with the recruitment service. So we've been doing a lot of experimenting on how we can create a very different kind of recruitment company by just combining these two things together.
Did you come from that background actually?
I did. I actually came from an agency sort of recruitment service type background.
All these years?
No, so in my previous life, I was an auditor / accountant. That didn't turn out so well.
Sweat. I just finished my audit.
That was like, it's one of those things that I got into when I was younger because I didn't know what I want to do.
Okay.
But when you're in it, and when I was in it, I sort of realized, you know what, that's not really me. Right. So I came out and I went into like a recruitment agency. I did quite well there. But when I started Hirely, I was very conscious that I didn't want to start a recruitment agency. I wanted to start a portal.
A portal.
Yes. Right.
So you kind of know already, or over the years it evolved? So maybe you want to share a little bit, because I know that before Hirely was something else.
Oh yes, it was. It was actually the original name for the portal was called WOB, WOBB.
It's pretty well known too by then. That time it was pretty well known. No?
Yeah. I mean, like not many people know this, but WOBB is actually short for working on beanbags. And the reason why we named it this way is because most of the companies that were using us at the time were a lot of startups. Yep. And I was just asking a question. Oh, what do all these companies have in common? Oh, they all have beanbags. And so that's how the name came out.
Beanbags too.
Yeah. Over time, we became Hirely because today we have like enterprise clients using us and stuff like that. So we just adopted a brand that was more, I guess, friendlier to non-startups as well.
Right. Yeah. So my curiosity is why WOB then Hirely? What changed?
So it's quite interesting. So what was the portal? We've actually had Hirely as a brand in 2019, but Hirely was a brand of the recruitment agency service. So we started two separate businesses. And one day I was having a conversation with our head of marketing, and she's saying that it's quite challenging because we are still quite small, and it's quite challenging to try to market two brands at the same time. So many people knew WOB, but no one really knew Hirely. And when the Hirely service or recruitment service started calling like candidates or clients, many of them didn't realize, why are you calling me? Like they didn't realize we're the same company, actually. So we said, you know what, let's just pick one brand,
right,
and focus on that one. So when we merged this the portal into the agency and became this hybrid model, we said let's pick Hirely because it's so obvious what we do just by the name.
Yeah, I think recruitment is one of the very interesting space. The fact that Orange Leaf is a tech innovation consultancy. I tell you, my biggest challenge is hiring. So I'm going to dive deep into this conversation with you.
Sure. Yeah.
By first question that I would like to ask you: what are some of these key trends seeing in the tech recruitment in 2024?
It's very interesting because I feel that it's a bit of a yo-yo right now.
Okay.
In the sense where if you're talking about high quality top talent, this is always going to be in demand. Yeah. But the tech industry is experiencing a bit of how do I put it? a lot of companies are sort of restructuring. So there's actually a lot of talent in the market, right? In the
Really?
short term, yes. I'm actually noticing this right now in terms of the how active our user base is of tech talent.
We have a lot of talent in the market.
Yeah, yes, more than usual. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's in abundance, but compared to 2-3 years ago,
Really?
yes, but it's a bit more than usual.
HR. Oh, I don't have a HR.
All right.
I'm still hiring.
But it's a great time. It's a great time to recruit because you have more options now. You know, I guess if you rewind 2-3 years ago, if you wanted a very high quality tech talent, you would have to go headhunt them, right? They're probably working somewhere. They're passive, right? And you go reach out. But now I would say, well, of course, there's still many that very happily in their jobs, but there's a bit more in the market that is active. So I would say that's something that we're going through right now. But I expect this to, to correct itself again over time. So it's like a temporary thing.
I have a very interesting question that the fact that it's available in the market, right? As a business owner myself, just like yourself, they are available because of the talent a little bit more particular on work from home. This is also a trend thing, right? That we're talking about, like, I don't want to work unless I get an option on hybrid model or, like work from home. I don't want to go to the office. Is it because of that, or is just the trend or the changes of the market itself?
I actually think that, yes, you're right. That also plays a part, actually. So the way I kind of imagine is, well, actually pre-COVID, I would say tech talents were always a group that did work remotely. It's actually very common. Yeah. So even then, even when we, today hybrids, like a hybrid work arrangement is very common. But even before COVID, I remember all our software engineers, a lot of them were like partially at home, were remote. It was very normal, right? So I actually think that does play a part. But even just on that topic itself, right, I feel like that is also swinging in another direction now, where more and more companies are sort of calling their people to come back in. So I'm actually observing this trend quite curiously, actually, to see sort of what happens, right?
What happens? Like, for us, the moment we hire, we told the client, we told the talents that it will be on site. Right. So of course the hiring in terms of the percentage is lower on our end as well, because I think there are still a trend of people still see as I want to work from home, and it will become like slowly people will see as you need to work from home probably 4 days or 3 days instead of full 5 days. Like for us, we start to implement working 4.5 days also. Right. One of the things is that as bosses we need to change, because I can't give them a work from home mode. One of the things is because our work requires a lot of human interaction. Right. Yeah. So let's say I want to ask you as a tip, right? Since you're the expert in this field, right? Sure. I have to ask you, like, what do you think about this model of making people coming back to work? Like, does it work?
I actually think that if you ask people to come back to work, you might alienate some of your talent. It may happen. But if as a company, you believe this is the right strategy or the right decision for your culture, because it could be, like, for example, you said that in your company, there's a lot of client-facing work, a lot of FaceTime and all that. So it makes sense for people to be in. And there's also a lot of... it's quite well known that when you're back in the office, human beings are kind of social animals, right? The bonds are better, right? Especially if you're new to a company. So I'll give a simple example. So I know I'm going back and forth with it, but
that's fine.
Before COVID and all the lockdowns, what we found was everyone in our company that knew each other, even when they went full remote, it didn't affect the team's relationship and their bonds and the culture, because they knew each other. But it was a very big struggle for anyone new that joined the company. So when they start off fully remote, they didn't have that same relationship with the company, the team, etc. And they were not very well integrated. So the whole thing became very transactional. It was very difficult to build culture when everyone is fully remote. So even us in Hiredly right now, I would say we are encouraging people to come back. We haven't swung completely 100%, please come in yet. But my guess is more and more companies will do this. So if you're a company that you believe you want your people to come in, but you're worried, let's say you don't know how people are going to react, you're going to lose talent, you can time it a little bit. What I mean by that is you can pace it out. One thing I will predict is more companies will start doing it. So if more companies start doing it, then you don't have to worry about your people leaving for a remote company, because more and more companies are asking people to go in anyway. Yeah. So I actually think I'm quite confident this will be the case though, that even tech companies will start calling their people in, because the reason is, if you rewind maybe 5 to 10 years ago, if you look at, say, Silicon Valley and the industry, big companies like Google and Microsoft, right? They were already made in a sense where very stable, highly profitable. There wasn't a lot of big change. So the culture was very much focused on almost like a monopoly kind of behavior. Everyone's very comfortable, and so to get the best people, they start saying, work wherever you want, stuff like that, and that they can maintain their position. But now I would say the tech industry is going through a very I'm not sure what the right word is, but it's very intense. I think they're competing again. Let's see. They sort of woke up from the last 5 to 10 years, right? Yeah. And even comes like Google and Microsoft are like calling people come in. Like, I need you in, because this is a competition, right? Really?
Yeah. Because I think one of the things is even on our side, we observe this situation is that please have coffee. It's going to be casual, so it's we also realized that because we're only about 7 years old, and when we first started, we were in the office every day, and when COVID happened, the new batch that actually entered the company, none of them stayed. They don't feel it. They feel there's no equality, and then they struggle to bond with the other team of people been around, because they felt probably left out, a bit isolated. Which I realized that as long as you're dealing with human, you need that face to face. It's just that the frequency, we can tone it down, we can increase it, right? So if let's say like today, somebody is gonna ask you, hey Derek, give me two tips, like how can I start making our team to come back? What would be the recommendation or suggestion? You don't have to be, it can be higher lead style, it can be, suggestion.
The way we are doing it now is, so when you're hiring new people, it depends on the department, right? Yeah. So there are some departments in Hartley where they do want the team to be 100% in the office. So, but they also have an existing team that's already hybrid. So we actually maybe you find a big way, right? So upfront, we told all the new people, when you come in, I expect you to be in the office 5 days a week. Okay, that's it. I'm very clear. This is the expectation. I also tell you why. Because I need to integrate very fast. I want to have FaceTime with you so you can learn and be onboard very, very quickly. True. And that is going to be the long-term thing. It's not that you're going to do this for a while and one day is going to be hybrid. No, it's just going to be, I want you to be 5 days a week. But we also tell them that, by the way, we do have an existing team that's currently hybrid. Right. So
isn't it tricky?
No, but I feel that if you're very upfront about it, it's okay. So what we're telling them, we have an existing team as hybrid. We do want them to come in, but they've been working this style for quite some time already. So we were going to adjust this over time, but I don't want you to feel that is unequal treatment. Upfront, I tell you.
And they're okay.
Yes. Upfront, I tell you, this is going to be the case. Eventually, they're going to be 5 days, but we're going to pace it out for them.
Okay.
So when you're in, I don't want you to wonder how come this person is not in on Thursday.
Yeah,
or
the culture
Friday.
shock, right? Suddenly, like, hey, how come we get this? I don't get that.
Yes.
Okay, so I get it, like managing the expectation from the beginning.
It's anyone who's new, right? So over time, all the new people, when you come in day one, you're doing 5 days, then it's just normal to you, right?
Suddenly you give 1 day free work from home, they're very happy.
Yes. And that's exactly, so what we tell the existing people is the same, right? It's just like, okay, there's the new people, they're coming in, they're going to do 5 days, right? I'm going to let you do your hybrid thing, but eventually you're going to do 5 days. But what I ask from you is you don't gloat while this is happening, because eventually you're going to do 5 days a day. So everyone's sort of pacing themselves out and adjusting.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's guys. I also learned it from you as well. Um, well, something that we can adapt as well. It's good because we don't have a HR here.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like we are still hiring. Like I mentioned, we are still hiring. It's really difficult to hire a good HR because most of them are pretty, like by the book. Like think out of the box in a startup is quite challenging, right? So managing a tech talent can be challenging. So that's why I want to ask you. The next question is actually which specific tech skills are in demand among employers right now, and how has this changed over the past years?
Tech skills are in demand.
Which specific tech skills are most in demand among employers right now?
I'm not sure about tech skills specifically, but I do know that obviously everyone is using AI. Many employers are very focused on, I guess, the velocity of the tech team. They want an engineering team that can leverage AI to be faster at their work. Produce more. I think this is actually a increasingly common expectation. Like I would ask our tech team also.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like, are you using ChatGPT?
So to what extent? Like to a certain what extent of you allow them to leverage on advanced technology?
Well, as long as it works, right? So if it works, if it allows them to produce better quality work at a faster pace, then they should embrace it, right? So it's a technology team, right? So you should be the first to use technology.
Okay, coming from a com background,
right?
I do have questions.
Right.
Anybody check their work? Because we also want to prevent plagiarism.
Oh, right.
So it's something that it's good to have tech because I run a tech company. I enable my own team to actually please use technology that is available there to keep yourself productive and efficient. However, I also tell them please check your work, no repetitive words that confuse people and all that.
Right.
Like to what certain extent do you have a policy for that?
I think when it comes to code, again, I'm not a technical person, but when it comes to code, right, before ChatGPT, they always go to places like, I believe, like Stack Overflow or something. So Stack Overflow is like a repository of code. People just share code each other. So the tech world is really a community, right? Like then when they do something, they share it with each other. So they go to these places as a shortcut. Like I want to build this thing, and they go to Stack Overflow to find out, does this exist? Can I just copy this block of code and put it in? So I think there isn't so much case of like plagiarism or something like that. Like they're not going to suddenly take someone's intellectual property just by using ChatGPT. I don't see that really happening. But of course, when you're doing something that is like where you're publishing a piece of writing, as an example, then there's a bit higher risk that is happening. So I would, at the moment, because Hirely as a company, we all our systems are already built. If you're using AI to code for you, it may work if you're coding from scratch, but it's not so easy to use AI on a block code that already exists. But you could use it as a way to help you reason. The AI can read through the code and help you improve the code, but maybe not entirely writing from scratch. But there are ways to use it.
So, what are the skills that do you think that the employers are looking into when they want to hire a talent? Top 3 skills.
Top 3 skills. Apart from actually being able to do your work.
It's like, okay, top 1.
Top 1. Right. I think adaptability is a very obvious one.
Yeah.
You want someone...
In what sense? Like adaptability, I think, because nowadays, right, like my generation, 1983, and talk about the younger generation, adaptability really depends on individual, the understanding as well, what they choose to understand. Maybe you can share a little bit more about this part for both the viewers to understand from employer point of view and also the employee point of view. Adaptability, what does that even mean?
Right. Well, from the way I see adaptability is basically don't in a very rigid way say that you can and only want to do one thing. So sometimes because even as a startup, the direction of the company keeps changing.
Yes.
And sometimes we want to try building something new, or maybe using a different kind of language. We hope and expect the team to kind of move as the company goes, and not just sit there and say, no, that's not what I do, right?
Yeah,
and then that's going to be a problem, right? So the only world where you can just be someone that is just doing one thing and specialize in one thing and nothing else might be a very large enterprise company, when their teams are in the hundreds, right? And then maybe, right? And you just keep doing one thing. But more and more, I find that for most companies, small, medium size, even I would say even some corporate companies, they expect the team to be able to change as the company changes direction. Especially now in the tech world, it's so fast paced. Everything is moving so fast.
Yes,
right?
That's why we are doing low code too, for a reason.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can't have someone that doesn't want to change.
And
right?
they do. I think the tech development side nowadays also they realize that hey, I don't have to set up an architecture again and again. There's a better way to do things. There's a better way to code, right? That somehow the younger are more exposed to technology and information. They find better way to work in a more shorter period of time. So that part, it's also something that it's also quite tricky sometimes, right? To actually monitor. But you still have two to answer actually.
Right. I said do your job well.
Adaptability. I like to distract and then bring you back.
I would say, this might surprise a lot of people, but I'm not sure if it's an expectation immediately, but it's going to help someone excel in their career in tech, and that's actually soft skill. So the reason, soft skill and communication. So the reason I say that is because I used to do coding when I was much younger, so I understand the process of coding, and I actually think that by being good in coding, it helps someone think in a very logical. Their thought process is very clear, very logical, because you're actually talking to a computer. Yes. Right? You're telling the computer, I need you to put this dot at this exact spot, so you're very clear and very specific. And what I find is because of the nature of their work, a lot of technology people also tend to be super, super logical and precise in their communication, and they don't have a lot of patience for people that do not communicate or think this way. But when you're talking to, let's say, someone in sales, in marketing, whatever, in the creative world, the way they think and work is very different, and they may not always communicate this way. So if you're someone that's in the tech world, your ability to sort of interact with these different teams and to speak in a way that they understand what you mean and have that patience to kind of walk them through it, it's a superpower in the long term. And I actually think that when you get to, let's say, CTO level or like a VP level, they are less about being someone who's technically strong. They're good technically, but they may not be the best technically. But what they're very good at is soft skill. They can interact with people outside of the department. I think that's a skill that every tech person should know. Yes.
So how did you overcome that on your side? Like what did you do to actually get where you are today? Like you have a bit of coding background.
Yes.
And then auditing, it's also a black and white, 0 and 1, yes and no kind of situation.
Yeah.
So, and now you're running a business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm sure that your day-to-day will be communication as a priority. Like communicate and delegate, to your team, and then making sure that people understand, where the vision and, are we still on the right track, all this with the amount of a lot of people that you have. So maybe you can share a little bit for the talents to know, to our viewers, what did you do or you did differently in the sense that that changes to where you are today?
In terms of like how I evolved from doing programming to auditing.
Because it's not easy to break though. If you'll be surprised because I come from comm background and my business partner is a tech person. And to balance out, we both combine to do something together.
Right.
But just one person from 0 to 1, or we say the logical thinking, to running a business and be able to communicate through the whole entire progress and, like this particular journey, it does require more than just being resilient. So did you attend like courses, or how did you improve your communication?
Interesting. I'm quite lucky in the sense where, yes, I did coding, I did accounting audit. I actually went into sales in a way because I did
What?
recruitment, headhunting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's essentially a sales job because like
Fair.
I'm always calling clients and candidates. You want to look for a job, like, and persuading them, you should go work here. It's an amazing place, right? So that exposure makes me a bit of an all-rounder, I think. And I do find, by the way, that I have many friends who are entrepreneurs and founders and all that, and I find that in most cases, many of them are a bit of a jack of all trades. Like they can excel in different domains, not just in one. And I would say that maybe I got a bit lucky. That's how my career evolved. But also for some reason, I understood all those different worlds that I entered.
That's very special skills, actually. Because after years of running a tech company, I realized that tech will only speak tech language.
Right.
And
right.
communication will be in their own bubble. So simple example would be me going to my tech team and ask for something.
Right.
And they will look at me blank, like, what do you want? Like, even I spend 5 minutes just talking, see, everyone is laughing about it. Nadia would laugh about it. Because it's not easy, like that you're all-rounder in terms of, having tech and also communication. Hey, you all. Thanks for following us and supporting us on our podcast. So stay tuned for the next episode. See you all.